There is a law, ancient and immutable, that governs every man and woman who seeks achievement. It is simple yet profound. Action precedes results. Thought without action is illusion. Planning without execution is futility. Intention without initiative is wasted potential. You can possess the brightest mind, the clearest vision, the most inspired ideas, yet unless you compel yourself to act, these gifts remain dormant, buried beneath the weight of procrastination, doubt, and indecision. And so, I speak to you today, not as a comforter, but as a clarion voice of reality. If you do not force yourself to get things done, life will compel you to surrender your dreams. The first truth to understand is that the human mind, left unchecked, is lazy, it drifts, it hesitates, it waits for perfect conditions, for approval, for external motivation. Yet the world rewards neither idleness nor hesitation. The individual who waits for inspiration is often left behind, for inspiration rarely comes unbidden. It is summoned through the discipline of deliberate action. You must recognize that your ability to compel yourself to act, to move deliberately against resistance, is the single most powerful determinant of your success. Observe the nature of procrastination. It is subtle, seductive, and relentless. It whispers excuses. It magnifies obstacles. It rationalizes inaction. I will begin tomorrow, it says. I am not ready yet, it insists. And in listening, you forfeit time, energy, and opportunity. Consider this. Each moment spent yielding to hesitation is a moment stolen from your potential. Each opportunity not seized, each decision delayed, strengthens the chains that bind you to mediocrity. And yet, there is a principle, simple yet devastatingly effective. Force yourself to act, even when unwilling, even when uncomfortable, even when doubt persists. This is the foundation upon which all achievement is built. Action must be deliberate, guided by purpose. The principle of definiteness of purpose is paramount. You cannot act effectively if your actions are scattered, reactive, or aimless. Define with absolute clarity what you seek to accomplish. Not vaguely, not generally, but with precise intent. What is the outcome you demand from yourself? What is the result that will leave no room for compromise or indecision? Once purpose is fixed, action becomes not only necessary but inevitable. It becomes the very vehicle through which your mind transforms vision into reality. Now, recognize the necessity of self-discipline. For many, action is sporadic, inconsistent, driven by fleeting bursts of motivation rather than the steady command of will. Discipline converts désir into deed. Discipline bridges the gap between thought and reality. It is the mechanism through which you compel yourself to act when inspiration fails, when fatigue presses, when the mind rebels. You must exercise the habit of action. Begin each day with deliberate movement toward your objectives. Follow through on every commitment and maintain momentum regardless of resistance. Success is the accumulation of these disciplined acts performed consistently over time. Yet, action alone is insufficient. It must be guided by accurate thinking. Decisions made hastily without evaluation often produce results that hinder progress rather than advance it. Accurate thinking requires observation, discernment, and logical judgment. Force yourself to gather facts, analyze outcomes, and align actions with reality rather than impulse or hope. Acting without clarity is blind motion. Acting with purpose guided by accurate thinking is mastery in motion. Here lies the vital law of cause and effect. If you allow hesitation, doubt, or fear to govern your actions, you invite failure. If you compel yourself to act, regardless of comfort or certainty, you command results. Consider the individuals who achieved greatness. They were not immune to doubt, nor were they uniquely talented in every respect. Their distinction lay in the relentless application of action. They forced themselves to move, to create, to execute, to persist until circumstances, opportunity, and influence aligned with their disciplined initiative. Let us speak now of the principle of emotional control in action. Many fail not because they lack intelligence or skill, but because they allow emotion to paralyze action. Fear, anxiety, excitement, and even fleeting desire can cloud judgment and delay execution. The solution is detachment. Observe emotion without surrendering to it. Feel it, understand it, then act in deliberate defiance of paralysis. Compel yourself forward while the mind rages, and in that act, discover the extraordinary power of inner sovereignty. Autosuggestion amplifies this effect. Repeated affirmations and declarations of commitment embed action into your subconscious. Tell yourself daily, I act now. I move with purpose. I force myself to accomplish what must be done. Repeat it, internalize it. Visualize the completion of tasks and the fulfillment of objectives. Over time, this creates an internal mechanism that drives action automatically, even in the absence of external motivation. The principle of response versus reaction also applies here. To act effectively, do not react impulsively to circumstance. Instead, respond with deliberate intention. Evaluate the situation, measure potential outcomes, and act decisively in alignment with purpose. Impulse is chaotic. Deliberate response is strategic. By mastering this distinction, you force action that is productive, meaningful, and aligned with long-term success. Consider the environment of high-pressure achievement. Deadlines loom, competition presses, uncertainty looms. The untrained mind hesitates, rationalizes, or withdraws. The trained mind compels action, regardless of fear, resistance, or discomfort. Momentum becomes the weapon of the disciplined. Each deliberate action feeds the next. Each completion reinforces confidence. Each forward step diminishes resistance. To force yourself to get things done is to enter a cycle of unstoppable momentum in which progress accelerates exponentially and inaction becomes impossible. Now, let us explore the subtle power of incremental action. The mind resists massive effort, and paralysis often arises in the face of overwhelming tasks. Divide action into discrete steps and compel yourself to complete each one. Start small, but start consistently. Each completed step becomes a building block of progress, each accomplishment a reinforcement of self-command. Over time, the cumulative effect of incremental, forced action produces results far greater than sporadic bursts of effort ever could. At this point, recognize the principle of persistence in action. Forcing yourself to act once is commendable. Forcing yourself consistently is transformative. Many begin with enthusiasm, then falter in the face of difficulty, fatigue, or distraction. Success, however, is reserved for those who compel themselves to persist, day after day, task after task, action after action. Momentum, compounded by persistence, converts ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Furthermore, understand the critical role of time management in forced action. Every moment wasted in indecision or hesitation is an opportunity lost. Structure your day to ensure deliberate, purposeful action is unavoidable. Allocate periods for focused work, reflection, planning, and execution. Remove distractions. Eliminate unnecessary tasks. Force yourself to act within these defined parameters. Time, once mastered, becomes your ally. Procrastination, once conquered, becomes irrelevant. Finally, we arrive at the synthesis. Force yourself to get things done is not merely a strategy, it is a discipline, a mindset, a law of success. Purpose aligns your action. Discipline enforces it. Accurate thinking guides it. Emotional mastery stabilizes it. Autosuggestion programs it. Incremental steps sustain it. Persistence compounds it. And time management ensures its efficiency. To internalize these principles is to command not only achievement, but life itself. And so, I leave you with this immutable truth. The individual who forces action, regardless of fear, doubt, or hesitation, commands the results of life. The individual who delays, rationalizes, or waits for external motivation surrenders opportunity, influence, and destiny. Compel yourself to act, make movement inevitable. Execute without delay. Master the law of action, and all other laws of success will bend to your will. Rise, then, and force yourself forward. Begin immediately. Take the first step. Repeat it. Build momentum. Persist relentlessly. And know this: in the disciplined application of action, in the relentless compulsion of effort, lies the path to unstoppable success, unshakable confidence, and ultimate mastery of life itself. Beyond mere initiation of action lies the domain of strategic prioritization, the art of compelling yourself to act where impact is greatest. Many are busy, yet ineffective. They expend energy on tasks of little consequence while avoiding those that determine their destiny. To force yourself to get things done, you must train the mind to distinguish the essential from the trivial. Evaluate every task against the scale of your purpose. Ask, does this advance my objective? Does this move the needle toward mastery, wealth, influence, or achievement? If not, it is a diversion. Refocus. Commit only to action that carries significance. Force yourself to act decisively on the high-leverage endeavors and let the trivial fall away. Closely allied with prioritization is the principle of urgency. Procrastination is often the product of comfort, the false belief that time is abundant. Time is never abundant. It is the most precious and non-renewable resource you possess. To force yourself to act, cultivate urgency without panic, set deadlines, enforce constraints, and condition yourself to respond immediately to opportunities and obligations. The mind that internalizes urgency compels action instinctively. Momentum becomes habitual, hesitation is marginalized, and results are inevitable. Now consider the psychology of overcoming internal resistance. The mind resists discomfort, effort, and uncertainty. It seeks ease and familiarity. Yet progress, achievement, and mastery demand that you confront resistance deliberately. The untrained individual yields to this internal opposition, rationalizes inaction, and surrenders potential. The disciplined individual recognizes resistance as a signal of importance. Where discomfort is felt, there lies growth. Where hesitation appears, there lies opportunity. Force yourself to act precisely where the mind resists, and in doing so, you harness the very energy that paralyzes others. Resistance becomes your ally, not your enemy, for each action taken against it strengthens will, confidence, and capability. We must also explore the role of visualization in compelled action. Seeing the end state vividly in your mind, imagining the completion of tasks, the attainment of objectives, the experience of success, primes the subconscious for execution. Visualization is not a substitute for action. It is the spark that ignites it. By combining mental rehearsal with deliberate movement, you align intention with execution. Force yourself to move while the vision burns in your consciousness and the momentum becomes unstoppable. Every act then serves the realization of a predetermined outcome, guided by clarity and reinforced by internalized purpose. Next is the principle of accountability to self and others. External accountability accelerates action, but true mastery requires internal accountability. Demand of yourself consistent follow-through. Do not allow excuses, rationalizations, or fear to erode commitment. Report daily to your inner standard, and let deviation trigger immediate corrective action. Force yourself to meet these standards relentlessly. In this practice, self-command deepens, action becomes habitual, and success is no longer contingent, it is inevitable. Let us turn to resilience in prolonged effort. Many begin with enthusiasm but falter under the weight of sustained challenge. Forcing action is not a single act, it is a continuous practice. Momentum must be maintained day after day, week after week, year after year. Cultivate habits that support persistence, structured routines, deliberate planning, reflection, and reinforcement of purpose. Let every completed task, no matter how small, reinforce the belief in your capability. Each victory over internal hesitation compounds into unshakable resilience. You act not because the world motivates you, but because your discipline compels it. The principle of emotional detachment in execution cannot be overstated. While emotion can motivate, it can also distract, distort, and delay. Observe the stirrings of doubt, fear, and desire without surrendering to them. Action compelled by discipline, not emotion, is precise, deliberate, and reliable. Let desire inspire vision, let fear signal risk, but let neither govern your movement. Force yourself to act despite emotional turbulence, and mastery over circumstance and over self is assured. Consider now the leverage of compounding action. Each act of forced execution builds upon the previous. Momentum accumulates, capability grows, confidence solidifies. The individual who acts relentlessly experiences the exponential effects of cumulative effort. One completed task makes the next easier. One victory over hesitation empowers the next challenge. Compounded action transforms ordinary capacity into extraordinary achievement. This is the power of forceful, disciplined execution. Finally, we arrive at the integration of all principles into daily practice. Begin each day with purpose. Define what must be accomplished. Prioritize ruthlessly. Condition urgency. Anticipate resistance. Visualize outcomes. Execute deliberately. Reflect upon results. Adjust strategies. Reinforce accountability. Repeat this cycle without fail. Through this disciplined repetition, action becomes instinctive, results become predictable, and mastery becomes an intrinsic part of character. Understand this immutable law. He who forces himself to act commands his destiny. He who waits, hesitates, or delays forfeits it. Action is the great equalizer. It transforms thought into reality, vision into achievement, and potential into power. Your mind may resist, the world may oppose, circumstances may conspire, but the individual who compels movement regardless emerges triumphant. Action, once mastered, is unstoppable. Momentum, once established, is irresistible. Achievement, once pursued relentlessly, is inevitable. And so, I leave you with this final charge. Force yourself to get things done. Begin now. Move forward now. Persist without hesitation. Act without compromise, and commit without reservation. The path to success, influence, wealth, and mastery is not found in idle contemplation, nor in hope for inspiration. It is forged through relentless, disciplined action. Make it habitual. Make it inevitable. Make it unstoppable. Rise, therefore, and compel your movement. Let nothing delay you. Let no doubt deter you. Let no resistance halt you. The world belongs to those who act. The future is shaped by those who move. And the life of extraordinary achievement is claimed by those who refuse to wait, hesitate, or yield, by those who force themselves to get things done. To truly force yourself to get things done, you must first confront the internal saboteurs that plague every mind: doubt, fear, and rationalization. These are not trivial. They are powerful forces that, if unrecognized, will cripple your potential. Doubt whispers, "You are not capable." Fear shouts, "The risk is too great." Rationalization soothes, "Later will be better." And if you listen even for a moment, action stalls, momentum is lost, and opportunity fades. The disciplined mind learns to recognize these saboteurs as signals, not commands. They are indicators of where effort is most required, where growth is inevitable, where mastery will emerge. When doubt appears, act anyway. When fear rises, act anyway. When rationalization seduces, act anyway. Force becomes the bridge between intention and achievement, and discipline the engine that powers it. The law of incremental compulsion is critical. The mind resists massive effort, but small, consistent acts of forced action overcome inertia. Begin with tasks that appear manageable, yet are aligned with your purpose. Complete them deliberately. Use each success as fuel to propel you toward the next, progressively larger task. This is the architecture of momentum. Action begets action. Confidence builds. Resistance diminishes. The untrained mind imagines effort as daunting. The disciplined mind understands that continuous, deliberate motion transforms even the most formidable goals into achievable reality. Next, consider the interplay of planning and execution. Planning is essential. It channels energy, clarifies objectives, and establishes priorities. Yet planning alone is impotent unless paired with execution. Many falter here, meticulously designing grand schemes while failing to initiate the simplest step. Execution must follow planning immediately and relentlessly. Force yourself to act on the plan even when uncertainty persists. Perfect conditions never arrive. Motivation is inconsistent. Inspiration is unreliable. Only compelled action bridges the gap between vision and manifestation. Furthermore, embrace the discipline of time mastery. Time is finite. Once lost, it cannot be regained. Each day presents a limited window of opportunity. By compelling action through structured schedules, defined priorities, and deliberate focus, you transform time from a passive element into a powerful ally. Use each hour with intention. Treat procrastination as theft. Let urgency drive action without panic, and let persistence cement momentum. Those who master time compel results, while those who surrender it remain victims of circumstance. Now, we approach the principle of emotional detachment in forced action. Many delay, hesitate, or fail because they allow feelings of discomfort, fear, or uncertainty to govern movement. Detachment does not mean apathy, it means command. Observe emotion without surrendering to it. Acknowledge fear, but act anyway. Recognize fatigue, but move forward. Feel discomfort, but do not obey it. The mind that commands emotion compels action regardless of internal turbulence. In this mastery lies freedom, the ability to act with precision, consistency, and inevitability, independent of external or internal disturbance. Consider also the compounding power of habitual execution. Each forced act of discipline strengthens mental circuits, ingraining the habit of action. One completed task reinforces confidence. One persistent effort fortifies will. One deliberate movement fuels the next. Over weeks and months, this accumulation produces unstoppable momentum. Habit transforms effort into instinct, resistance into opportunity, and action into a seamless, continuous process of achievement. The individual who builds this habit experiences exponential results. Progress accelerates, obstacles diminish, and mastery emerges naturally. Next, reflect upon the necessity of self-accountability. To force action effectively, you must hold yourself to the highest standard. Excuses, delays, and rationalizations are the tools of mediocrity. Daily evaluation of performance, honest reflection on resistance overcome, and unwavering commitment to purpose create an internal authority that enforces action without external supervision. Accountability to self is the engine that drives persistent, disciplined execution over time. Without it, momentum falters, purpose wavers, and mastery is unattainable. We now examine the psychology of urgency in achieving extraordinary results. The mind that recognizes the immediacy of purpose compels action instinctively. Delays become intolerable, hesitation becomes irrelevant, and movement becomes unavoidable. Urgency is the catalyst of execution, converting intention into measurable results. Cultivate a mindset where procrastination is unacceptable, where each day demands deliberate accomplishment, and where action is non-negotiable. By embedding urgency into the structure of daily life, you align thought, emotion, and behavior with relentless productivity. Consider, too, the role of visualization and mental rehearsal. Before acting, imagine the successful completion of tasks, the precise steps required, and the ultimate outcome achieved. Mental rehearsal programs the subconscious, primes action, and removes uncertainty. It is not a substitute for effort, it is the amplifier of action. When coupled with forced execution, visualization transforms hesitation into decisiveness, uncertainty into confidence, and intention into tangible results. The mind becomes a machine of precision, driven by purpose and guided by clarity. We must also address sustained momentum under pressure. Many falter when action becomes arduous or prolonged. The disciplined individual, however, understands that consistency is paramount. Momentum is the accumulation of repeated, deliberate acts. Each action reinforces the next. Each small victory compounds into an unstoppable trajectory. Fatigue, distraction, and resistance are merely temporary impediments. Force yourself to persist regardless. Momentum, once established, becomes self-sustaining, propelling you toward extraordinary results without reliance on transient motivation. Finally, understand the principle of integrated mastery of action. Purpose, discipline, accurate thinking, emotional control, incremental effort, visualization, urgency, accountability, and persistence must function as a unified system. Force yourself to act in alignment with purpose. Evaluate each task for significance. Overcome internal resistance. Execute with precision. Repeat relentlessly. Reflect, adjust, and refine. Through this integration, the act of getting things done becomes an automatic expression of character. In this practice, the gap between intention and reality disappears, and achievement becomes inevitable. And now, I leave you with this commanding truth. He who forces himself to act commands the results of life. He who hesitates surrenders to circumstance, indecision, and mediocrity. Compel yourself into motion. Execute without delay. Persist without compromise. Let no resistance deter, no doubt distract, and no fear paralyze. Momentum, once cultivated, is unstoppable. Achievement, once pursued relentlessly, is inevitable. And mastery of self through disciplined action secures not only success, but influence, freedom, and power. Rise, therefore, and force yourself to get things done. Begin now. Take the first step. Build momentum. Persist relentlessly. Let every day be a testament to the discipline of action. Let every task completed be proof of your sovereignty over hesitation and delay. Let your life, therefore, reflect the mastery of one who refuses to wait, refuses to falter, and refuses to yield, one who compels accomplishment through the unyielding power of will. Having established the foundation of forced action, deliberate execution, and disciplined momentum, we now turn to the architecture of high-level habit formation, the systematic process by which repeated, deliberate acts transform into automatic, unstoppable behavior. Habits are the compound interest of achievement. Every small, deliberate action, performed consistently over time, compounds into extraordinary results. To compel yourself to get things done, you must embed action into the very structure of your daily existence. Begin by identifying the keystone actions, those critical behaviors that produce disproportionate results. These are not trivial chores or busy work. They are the few acts that, when performed reliably, move the needle of your purpose. Force yourself to complete these actions daily, without exception. Initially, effort is required, resistance is inevitable. Yet as repetition reinforces neural pathways, the act becomes automatic. Execution ceases to rely on motivation or emotion. It becomes instinctive, habitual, and inevitable. The individual who masters this process converts ordinary effort into extraordinary accomplishment. Closely allied with habit is the management of attention and focus. The human mind is easily distracted, pulled toward triviality by external stimuli and internal impulses. To act decisively, you must condition attention as a tool of will. Direct your focus exclusively toward high-priority, high-impact activities. Eliminate distractions ruthlessly. Train the mind to sustain concentration on the task at hand until completion. Momentum in action is amplified exponentially by unbroken focus. The individual who commands attention commands results. The individual whose mind wanders yields power to chaos. Next, consider the psychology of energy management in forced action. Action requires not only discipline but vitality. Fatigue, emotional depletion, and mental exhaustion diminish execution. To sustain relentless progress, monitor energy levels consciously. Structure work to align with periods of peak mental and physical capacity. Apply strategic breaks to restore focus and prevent burnout. Align effort with natural rhythms to maximize output. In doing so, you ensure that action is not only consistent, but effective, precise, and sustainable over the long term. Now, we advance to decision-making under pressure, a realm where hesitation is most costly. The unmastered mind falters when stakes are high, complexity abounds, and consequences loom. The disciplined mind acts decisively, guided by purpose, accurate thought, and foresight. Force yourself to make decisions promptly after gathering essential facts and weighing probable outcomes. Delay invites confusion, doubt, and lost opportunity. Action, even imperfectly executed, is superior to indecision. Momentum is preserved, experience accumulated, and mastery strengthened. Consider also the principle of compounding influence through decisive action. Individuals who act consistently do more than complete tasks. They shape perception, build credibility, and create networks of trust and authority. Action breeds confidence. Confidence attracts opportunity. Opportunity magnifies impact. The act of forcing yourself to execute creates ripples beyond the immediate objective, enhancing reputation, leadership, and influence. Momentum is thus both internal and external. You move forward personally, and the world responds to your movement. We must also address the management of fear and uncertainty. Fear is a natural signal, but it is often amplified beyond utility by hesitation and overthinking. Forceful action neutralizes fear. When you act decisively, fear loses authority. When you persist despite uncertainty, confidence is reinforced. Every action taken in defiance of fear strengthens the neural and psychological pathways of courage, decisiveness, and mastery. The individual who compels action regardless of fear transforms anxiety into momentum and uncertainty into opportunity. Furthermore, examine the strategic use of reflection in forced action. Action without reflection risks inefficiency and misalignment with purpose. After each task, deliberate on execution. What worked? What resisted completion? How could the process be improved? This reflection is not indulgence, it is optimization. Force yourself to act, then force yourself to analyze, then force yourself to refine. Through this cycle, action becomes increasingly effective, efficient, and aligned with overarching objectives. The disciplined individual acts, learns, and adjusts in a continuous loop of improvement. Now, let us consider the integration of external accountability. While internal accountability is critical, external reporting reinforces execution. Seek mentors, partners, or collaborators who demand follow-through. Let commitments to others compel action when self-motivation wanes. The combination of internal drive and external expectation magnifies performance exponentially. Momentum becomes inescapable, and forced action becomes a lifestyle rather than a sporadic effort. We also explore the alignment of action with long-term vision. Short-term tasks may be mundane, repetitive, or challenging, yet their execution is vital when aligned with strategic objectives. Force yourself to complete these tasks, understanding their role in the architecture of your ultimate goals. Vision provides the compass, action lays the path. Without vision, action is scattered and results are diminished. With vision, even the smallest acts of execution accumulate into monumental outcomes. Furthermore, embrace the inevitability of resistance as a metric of value. Where resistance is greatest, the potential for growth and impact is also greatest. Delay, hesitation, and procrastination are natural responses to difficulty. Force yourself to act precisely in the areas where resistance is strongest, for here lies the compounding effect of achievement. Each victory over resistance strengthens discipline, confidence, and capability. This is the paradox of progress. The more challenging the act, the more transformative the result. Finally, let us synthesize these principles into a comprehensive system of unstoppable execution. Purpose directs action. Discipline enforces it. Accurate thinking guides it. Emotional mastery stabilizes it. Incremental steps sustain it. Urgency accelerates it. Accountability maintains it. Focus amplifies it. Energy management optimizes it. Decision-making ensures precision. Reflection improves it. External accountability reinforces it. Vision aligns it. And confrontation of resistance strengthens it. Together, these elements create a machine of relentless, deliberate, and unavoidable action. Understand this, above all else, he who forces himself to get things done commands his destiny. He who hesitates yields to circumstance, delay, and mediocrity. The act of compulsion, executed with discipline, persistence, and alignment with purpose, is the ultimate lever of success. Momentum, once cultivated, cannot be stopped. Achievement, once pursued relentlessly, is inevitable. Mastery of self through compelled action is the law of accomplishment, the path to influence, and the gateway to freedom. Rise, therefore. Begin immediately. Compel yourself forward. Build unstoppable momentum. Persist without compromise. Let every day, every task, every choice reflect the unyielding discipline of action. Let no fear deter, no doubt delay, and no resistance halt you. Execute with precision, act with purpose, and persist with relentless force. Your life, measured in action, is your legacy. Your results, forged in deliberate execution, are your proof. Your mastery, realized in relentless application, is your authority. You are not merely alive, you are a force. You are not merely moving, you are unstoppable. You are not merely acting, you are mastering destiny itself. Force yourself to get things done. and the world will bend to the one who acts without hesitation, without compromise, and without fail. There comes a point in every person's evolution where the challenge is no longer external. The world ceases to be the obstacle. The mind becomes the battlefield. Success at its highest level is not won by strength, resources, or opportunity. It is won by mastery of self. He who commands his mind commands his results. He who compels himself to act, when every fiber cries for rest, earns the right to direct destiny. You must understand, every day you delay, the world continues moving forward. Every hour you surrender to comfort, another rises with discipline. The difference between the successful and the stagnant lies not in intelligence, not in privilege, not in luck, but in the simple, eternal choice to act when it is hardest to act. That moment when you feel resistance pressing against you, when the task feels insurmountable, when your will falters, that is the very moment that defines who you are. Force yourself to move then. Step forward then. Command yourself then. Because victory belongs to those who do what must be done, especially when they do not feel like it. Let us revisit the grand principles, not as repetition, but as reinforcement brick upon brick, discipline upon discipline. Definiteness of purpose is your compass. Know exactly what you seek and act with unwavering intent. Self-discipline is your engine. When emotion weakens, discipline drives. Accurate thinking is your steering wheel. Truth, not feeling, guides the path. Emotional control is your armor. Calmness under pressure ensures precision. Persistence is your endurance. Movement, repeated indefinitely, guarantees triumph. And above all, forced action is your ignition. It is the moment you turn thought into existence, hesitation into momentum, potential into power. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for readiness. Do not wait for certainty. These are illusions the weak entertain to justify delay. Begin, and clarity will follow. Act, and confidence will arise. Persist, and results will manifest. The mind is strengthened only through exertion, just as the muscle through strain. If you wish to live as a master, you must first learn to compel yourself like a soldier, firm, deliberate, unstoppable. You will fail. You will fall short. You will tire. But none of that matters. What matters is that you act again and again and again until the habit of execution becomes the rhythm of your existence. The man who forces himself to rise when comfort calls him to rest, who writes one more page, lifts one more weight, makes one more call, studies one more hour, this man is unconquerable. Because discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. Every task completed builds credibility with yourself. Every moment of follow-through strengthens faith in your own word. Self-trust is the foundation of power. Without it, your mind doubts every intention. With it, your commands become law. When you say, I will, and your mind knows it is truth, you have entered the domain of mastery. So I say again, force yourself to get things done. When emotion rebels, when the body resists, when excuses parade in the mind, act anyway. Action is the great purifier. Action kills doubt. Action transforms chaos into clarity. The universe moves for the one who moves first. The world respects the one who executes, and life itself yields to the one who refuses to wait for permission. Now close your eyes and picture your greatest aim. See it vividly, not as a dream, but as an inevitability waiting on your command. Then open your eyes and take one deliberate action toward it, no matter how small. That single motion separates the thinker from the achiever, the dreamer from the doer, the follower from the leader. From this day forward, make that motion your creed. Live as one who does not wait to feel ready, but one who acts and becomes ready through action. Live as one who compels progress when others complain. Live as one who commands himself when others collapse. For the secret to all greatness lies within this simple, immortal truth. He who commands himself commands the world. Force yourself to get things done. Force yourself to act when it hurts. Force yourself to persist when it's boring. Force yourself to begin when it's uncertain. Force yourself to rise when you'd rather rest. And soon, you will no longer need to force yourself, because action will have become your nature, discipline your identity, and mastery your reality. Then and only then will you realize that success was never a mystery. It was always a matter of movement. It was always a matter of choice. It was always waiting on you to act. Now act.